When we consider biological materials, we often think about disease-causing pathogens like viruses and bacteria or toxins. Viruses are microbes like those that cause Ebola, hemorrhagic fever, or influenza. Viruses need a live host to survive. They're usually spread by airborne exposure and can cause a range of damage from mild flu to internal bleeding and death. Bacteria, on the other hand, can survive on its own. When effectively dispersed as aerosols, bacteria can cause many casualties. Bacteria can also be used to contaminate food and water, as shown by the Rajneeshi cult in Oregon. Toxins are another type of biological material. In some cases, products from bacteria, fungi, and certain plants and animals possess powerful toxins. For example, ricin is a biological toxin that comes from the castor bean. Botulinum is a toxin, one of the most lethal compounds known to man. It is much more toxic than the nerve agent sarin. Toxins are most often injected or ingested. Like chemicals, biological materials can be acquired, stolen, or produced. Common sources for biological materials include biological supply houses, universities, healthcare facilities, or research laboratories. A terrorist can manufacture enough in just a few days to inflict tremendous damage. One reason terrorists have shown interest in using them. It can be difficult to detect biological materials. They exhibit few characteristic physical signatures, and their effects may not show up immediately. Biological materials can be produced with readily available items: petri dishes, pressure cookers, yogurt makers, and home brewing equipment. Biological materials can be produced as wet slurries or dry powders. Small amounts of biological materials can be simple to produce, but they can be far more complex to transport and use. Most biological materials are sensitive to the environment and must be protected during transport. Look for special, excessive packaging using double bags and other containers that might be needed to preserve the organisms. When biological materials are exposed to the environment, most die quickly or lose their ability to infect, especially when they are exposed to sunlight. So the method of preparation and the delivery system becomes very important. Potential dispersion methods vary from the simple to the very complex. From spreading a material directly onto a target to sophisticated explosive and spray systems. Terrorists often need special knowledge and equipment in order to effectively disperse biological materials into the air. For example, unsophisticated explosive devices used with wet materials are likely to produce puddles or big drops that are less likely to infect their targets. It can be difficult to recognize the equipment used to disperse biological materials. In many cases, they are common items with legitimate uses. Simple spray bottles, pressurized devices such as aerosol cans, agricultural sprayers, blower units, lawn sprayers, and even people themselves. The situation, the people, and the equipment all can provide clues to the presence of biological materials.